What if I told you that more than 50,000 migrants have already crossed the Channel into Britain since Labour came to power? 50,000 people arriving in small boats, risking their lives at sea, and now stepping onto British shores. It's a number that raises questions about Britain's borders, about Labour's promises, and about the future of immigration policy in this country. So, is this the moment when Britain finally admits it has lost control of its borders? Or is there still time to fix the crisis? Shadow Minister Chris Philp certainly thinks the government has failed. He is demanding that Yvette Cooper, the new Home Secretary, hold an emergency cabinet meeting to plan the deportation of every illegal migrant immediately upon arrival. He says this is the only way to stop the flow. But let's be realistic. Is it even possible? Does Britain have the planes, the agreements, and the political will to carry out mass deportations at this scale? And if it can't be done, then is Philp simply playing politics, feeding public anger, without offering real solutions? The crisis has only deepened after a high court ruling this week. Judges blocked the use of the Bell Hotel in Epping to house asylum seekers. It may sound like just one hotel, but here's the catch. The ruling could affect more than 200 hotels across the country. Imagine that. Hundreds of hotels suddenly unavailable. Thousands of migrants with nowhere to go. Local councils under pressure. Communities left asking, where will they be sent next? And here's another question for you. Would you accept an asylum center being set up in your town? Would you be comfortable with a disused military base being turned into migrant housing just a mile from your home? These are not theoretical questions. They're the very decisions the government is being forced to make right now. At the heart of the debate is Labour's choice to scrap the Rwanda plan. Remember that policy? The Conservatives designed it to act as a deterrent. Anyone arriving illegally would be sent straight to Rwanda, unable to claim asylum in Britain. Critics called it immoral and unworkable. Supporters said it was the only way to stop the boats. Labour cancelled it just before it was due to start, and Philp, along with many others, says that single decision created today's surge. But here's the debate. Would Rwanda really have worked, or was it simply an expensive illusion? Think about this. If Rwanda had been in place, would desperate people still have risked the Channel, or would they have looked for other routes into Europe? And if we say no to Rwanda, what's the alternative? What kind of deterrent, if any, actually works? Meanwhile, Security Minister Dan Jarvis insists hotels are not a long-term solution. He says the government will phase them out by the end of this parliament. But let's ask the obvious question. How? The asylum system is already overstretched. Decisions can take years. And while people wait, they need somewhere to live. Do you really believe the government can close hundreds of hotels in just a few years without chaos? Or is this another political promise that will quietly fade away? Nigel Farage has stepped into the debate with his usual fire. He says councils should follow Epping's example and take the government to court. He's also calling for peaceful protests outside hotels housing migrants. Now imagine that spreading nationwide, towns across Britain filled with demonstrations. Would that force Labour to act faster, or would it simply deepen the anger and division already simmering in our politics? And here's another angle. Do you think protests are a healthy way to put pressure on the government, or are they a dangerous path towards confrontation? Beyond the politics, we need to remember the human side. 50,000 arrivals means 50,000 stories. Some are fleeing war zones, others are escaping poverty. And yes, some may be abusing the system. How do we decide who deserves protection and who doesn't? And can a system that takes years to make decisions ever be fair, either to those applying for asylum or to the British people waiting for answers? Let's widen the question. Is migration something that can ever be solved? Britain is part of a world where wars, poverty, and climate change are pushing millions to move. Can any government truly close the borders? Or is the best we can do to manage the pressures and balance them against our own needs at home? And here's where the politics get even more dangerous for Labour. Every month the numbers rise, every new protest outside a hotel, every local council that takes the government to court, all of it adds fuel to the argument that Labour is losing control. Could this crisis even decide the next election? Could immigration be the issue that defines Labour's time in power? Now let me put it to you. Do you think Labour has already failed to control migration? Or do they still have time to turn things around? Should Britain bring back the Rwanda plan? Or is that a dead end? Should we be tougher at the border or more compassionate in our communities? And most importantly, if you were in charge today, what would you do differently? Share your views in the comments. We want to hear your voice, your solutions, your frustrations. Because in the end, this isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about the kind of country Britain wants to be. Sources: Sky News, The Telegraph.